Namaste, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to one and all who are joining in with us today in this special Youth Ki Baat session. Uh, First of all, Merry Christmas to all of you from across the country, around the globe. And also wishing you, today is also a day of where we are celebrating the birth anniversary of one of the Prime Ministers of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and again Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya as well. At the same time, today is also a day where Indian culture and Indian society, praise what we talk about climate action. One of the most important and prominent, uh, you could rather say, one of the most important plants, which is known as sacred basil or the tulsi plant in India, which has a lot of benefits to say. I remember very vividly back in 2016-17 when we had the chance to distribute 100,000 tulsi sacred basil plants. We have realized the amount of and the tremendous benefits that this plant has. And today is also a day to celebrate Tulsi in its way. And in our culture, we not only uh, respect, but we also worship Tulsi as our mother equally. Uh, However, having said that, on this special day, while we are talking about Madan Mohan Malviya, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the Tulsi Pujan Day, and of course the Christmas, we have a very special guest with us who happens to be Princess Richa Lakshmi. Princess Richa Rajalakshmi has completed her schooling from Mayo College Girls' School. She's a double majors in commerce and economics from Jai Hind College, post-graduation in fashion marketing and merchandising. Further, interning at Motspe, Paris. Currently, she's also pursuing law. Richa started her work with a multi-designer store in Delhi as a merchandiser, further working with Lacoste to finally work with an export house in Jaipur before starting her own brand. Now, what's her brand? The creator, the founder, or the promoter of Chitranjani, Richa focuses with the Indian artisans. Today, Chitranjani draws its roots from a cluster of age-old towns in Rajasthan, where hand block printing is an ancient textile craft contributing to a sustainable fashion. Chitranji showcases the talent of countless generations of craftsmen and women as well, artisans towards localizing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, leading the United Nations 75 Charter. Not only that, inspired by her sister, Richa has tied up with a school, Vani Vikas Kendra, for hearing impaired children to educate them to live up to their full potential. In fact, with every purchase of Chitranjali product, you would be supporting a hearing impaired individual to uplift their life. Having said that, with full responsibility, I would urge all our viewers to at least buy one product from Chitranjali to support the cause that Richa stands for and advocates. Richa firmly believes that the key to empowerment of marginalized communities is having access to information, which will enable them to live an ordinary or even an extraordinary lifestyle. A national player in tennis, she has represented the state of Rajasthan. A prolific reader, she also promotes the necessity of yoga and meditations in one's life. While speaking with Richa, she smirked that you could always find a book in my bag. Thank you so much, Richa, for joining us today and for being here on this special Youth Ki Baat session. Thank you.
That was a beautiful introduction. And I don't know what I can add to it because you have said everything that probably I would want to say. But yes, I would certainly would like to talk about my own brand and my cause because that is what I'm more focused on and that is what I have been promoting for last 2 years. Yeah, so my brand Chitranjani has been named after my real sister, as you mentioned, and she is also a hearing impaired individual. So a lot of inspiration comes from her when it comes to helping the hearing impaired individual, and taking this cause very, very seriously, because it has been so close to my heart, something that is there in the family. When you see a person go through every day a certain kind of difficulties and a certain kind of social difficulties and physical difficulties, when you see your own family member go through, probably you feel a lot more for others than someone who doesn't have that kind of an individual in their family. I'm not saying that they are not sensitive towards it, but I don't know how much effort will they make to work on that, because consciously you need to be a little more aware how these kids are or how they function. With hearing impaired, a lot of they go through a lot of mental stress also, because they are so frustrated within that they do not know how to express a lot of things. So therefore, in Vani Vikas Kendra, the lady who is handling, that is Manju, Mrs. Manju actually really focuses on speech therapy, because as more the clearer they are in talking, they feel more confident. They feel that they are there as a part of a normal society. They do not feel anything less, and therefore it takes down the lot of frustration about not hearing, because they get that confidence, because a person looks at them with great happiness. The expression, we bright up when they speak a word very clearly. You look like, oh wow, you've reached a phase where we wanted you to reach. So Manju ma'am has been someone who has been working with Vani Vikas Kendra for many years, and last that I know, at least for last 30 years. And she is someone who doesn't work with sign language. She focuses on their speech therapy, and I think she's one of the only person in Lucknow, at least. I can't say about any other cities, because I haven't really explored any other cities when it comes to the hearing impaired schools, at least in Lucknow, who only focuses on their speech therapy and very less on sign language. There are students who pass out from school who are working, they are married, they have kids, they're leading a very normal life. So yes, it just gives us a lot more confidence to work for them. And I feel that by having a brand on my sister and connecting it to this cause, I was honoring her. I was acknowledging her. I couldn't say disadvantage, but yeah, I was acknowledging her something that she was missing out, in this world. So that was my main reason to start and to focus on the hearing impaired individuals.
Richa, hearing you, really gives me a feeling of understanding that because of the very fact that it is your sister who was affected most by it, that you took it so close to your heart. Now that you're impacting lives of hundreds and thousands of people as well.
Yes, because when I see her, when she leads a day-to-day life, my parents and my family members have been so natural about the whole thing. They have never felt, that she is missing out on anything. She never felt complexed on any kind of a way. She's very normal when she's in a normal crowd. So I feel that if we as a family came together and could just say 10 people in a family came together and made her life so different than what it could be, then I'm sure that we all can just come together to make sure that everyone's life who cannot hear or in any kind of disadvantage. I'm not saying only hearing impaired. I will be going further into more disabilities or kids who are very special. I've started with this because this is very close to, and I understand it very closely to my heart, but I will be certainly getting into more categories as I study about them, because I know this section in and out, and I do not know the other sections that well and how to handle the kids. But yes, if I'll be studying about them and will be getting into kids with more special disabilities probably. And also they I just wanted the everybody to break this myth also, that if the brand is connected with a social cause, the brand is not going to supply you with great products or the quality will go down. that is also one myth that I wanted to break, because everybody connects you are connected with the social cause, it is just a marketing gig and you will just give us anything and the product will not be of that quality. But it's not that. My artisans also work very, very hard in giving you the best quality. Yes, hand block prints are very, very common. I won't say that they are not common, but the quality is dying. I will say the quality of the printing, the quality of the fabric is dying, and the artisans have got rigid because they know that either their designs are getting copied or somebody else is taking an undue advantage about them, or they're not getting the pay that they should. Because what we end up doing when we start the brand, initially we are very supportive towards the artisans, and I would generally like this to come in notice that, guys, whoever have their brands or whoever are designers, in the starting we are very, very closely connected to the artisans, and we are all there to support them. But as the brand grows, as we grow gradually, and as the brand starts making the monetary gains that it should, we start forgetting about the monetary gains that our artisans should also be getting simultaneously. We forget that, and we start leaving them behind, and we start having this argument ki aap apna cost kam kariye, and because then we are already reaching that notch where we feel that we have an upper hand on them, and we try to pull them down, not realizing that whatever we are, 50% out we are because of them, because they are the ones who are printing for us. They are the ones who are giving us what we want as a craft for us to market. And I am only I'm just the face of this. I do not say they are my designs. I do not say they are, yes, color combinations I help them with, but they are totally and wholly my artisans designs. I am playing with their designs. I am with their blocks. I'm just the face for them to be out there promoting them. And so basically, I am on one hand promoting the artisans, and the other hand helping with the cause.
I was just mesmerized listening to you. Also, over the fact that I was thinking that should I start writing down some of the points that you're mentioning? Because one of the very key intrigues that have come out while you were sharing your thought was that once we start having an upper hand, we try to pull them down.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely the 50-50%. The artisans take the 50% and then you're taking the 50% ahead.
Ahead, yes. I cannot hear you, Shilesh. The voice has, the sound has gone. I cannot hear you. Hello?
Yes. Is it clear now?
Yes, sorry. Yes, it's clear.
Fantastic. So, what I was mentioning was the very fact of the humility that what you mentioned, that it is not my design. It is not my product completely. It is theirs. And very subtly, you mentioned that with some color patterns, you do help, but not the entirely. I think it's this kind of a humility is there. Communities which, the local artisans, which have been dying out or going towards an extent of the generations, I think this is how we would be able to revive it. Because one thing was clearly mentioned while I was, participating in a lot of these international conferences representing the country. One thing was very clear, that our local artisans is what we now know as sustainable fashion or sustainable living. We have been practicing it, living it for a long time now. It is only that it is going to die out. And people like you, Richa, who are promoting it, encouraging them to make sure that sustainable fashion is not just there, but then we would also be able to promote it largely to the entire world, because the entire world now needs leadership. And I think it is because of the sustainable solutions that we have at the ground, we can take it to the global level. So thank you so much, Richa, for everything that you're doing. I was quickly, wondering if you would like to share something from your legacy, from the, maybe rather saying that, of your family and the contributions or the sacrifices that your family has made in the past as well.
So I belong to a family which is in Gujarat. That's a place known as Danta. And we have been living at our farm for years and years that I can really think of. At least when I was born, we were still there. And we were there since much, much before. And yes, we basically stay at our farm. And my parents, the land that they had got, they have converted into farming and a little bit on commercial grounds for the rental income for the town. And yes, and that's all that I can say about my family. And rest it's me who's doing work and who's been promoting my brand. And the legacies that I don't know if I the legacy actually is that we carry is more about supporting the local, because technically if I really, even it's not about just promoting local for vocal, because even if we go down generations and even if we go down with our legacies and the families and the communities that I come from, or the people who are like me who come from, their actual general work was to support the locals. It was to keep their town and their village all sustained with everything that was possible. And it was always supporting the local craftsmanships. You always saw the old, the time when the kingdoms and the time when, the kings and the queens, they had their rights and they had their era. It was, they always were the local craftsmen, even if they went from one place to another, even from one state to another. That's how they recognized, by wearing their local craftsmen, by promoting their artisans, by telling the other state that, we are coming from here and this is what our village or our town does the work. So it has always been there. It has never died out. It's just that we got so inclined towards the Western world with time, that somewhere or the other we forgot our culture. That is what I would say. I can't say that it's not there. It is there, but somewhere we forgot it in the whole, in the whole progressing world, getting fascinated with the Western, with the internet coming, into our times and in earlier times. Lot of internet, lot of online, lot of mixing of cultures, which is great, because it has both. It has your disadvantages and your advantages, because when the cultures got mixed, we were introduced so much about the Western world that we did not know. They were introduced about us, and today India it's all over the world. It's not just in one part of the world, it's all over the world. But I feel that 50% we did get fascinated with the Western world. I would want to agree to that as a youngster, because yes, we did. And let's
Right.
not
And we
deny
still
that
are.
fact. And we
And we
still
still
are,
are.
it's not that we aren't. We still are. It's a very small example. We would rather end up wearing a very fancy dress on our wedding cocktail night than to probably wear something that is Indian, and it's a very, very small example, but we have somewhere or the other lost that touch with our own culture and our heritage. We have lost that ground with our artisans. We have started taking them for granted, that they will always be there, which is not the fact, because now so many artists dying. It's people like
Mhm.
you, it's people like Anshu ma'am, who handles Royal Fables. There are people like you and her who actually give the platform that, guys, let's revive it back. It's so special. And every craft, every artisan has a history. You talk to a
Absolutely.
small karigar, speak to a small karigar, you can sit with him for an hour and talk to him, because he has an entire history as to how he started, how his generations were doing it, and how they got there to a particular area, also how they traveled and they came here, and how
Correct.
they build their own craft. So I feel there's a lot to still learn. There's a lot for us to still promote. There's still a lot for us to, accept the fact that our artisans are very, very important. And
Correct.
we cannot be just into money making racket. and we need to balance it out somewhere. I'm not saying that do not make money, please make lots of money, but we just need to balance it out somewhere.
Richa, it seemed more like an inspirational and a motivational talk rather than caring because while you're also making money, you're inspiring a lot of young people, encouraging young people to participate in this entire process. And I think while you mentioned about the losing of culture and this entire process of revival, and I strongly believe with what you're saying, why, and I would like to share an incident that happened while I was there in 2019 United Nations General Assembly. I happened to present a kulhad, which is made out of clay, kulhad or the
Yes.
kulhadi that is called. And
Yeah.
for us, it is so common, you can find it in every nook and corner of the streets. And while I had a chance to present it to His Excellency Secretary General of United Nations, he was so amazed that a lot of international and national media covered it as a glass of the century. And to me, it was kind of a kind of a shock to, or rather to say, a kind of an acceptance which was very difficult to accept. Also for the fact that for us it is so common, we use it and just dump it, not even realizing the value of it. But that day,
Yes.
the realization came that this is the country where we come from. When we talk about climate action, we have all the sustainable solutions. Now that people are talking about bamboo products, we have bamboos all over. I think just behind you have bamboos as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then the local artisans, the karigars, the designs. I mean, the flawless small activities. I think that is one of the reasons why we were also colonized. Because of the creativity that we all had. And I think the time has come. And it can only happen when young people like you and I, more young people across the country, around the globe, come up together and realize that, when we bring the culture and when we revive culture, the entire sustainability happens in itself. Because for us, sustainability was not something different, but it was part of our lifestyle to say. Maybe using, just going back, remembering something, maybe using a neem as a form of brush rather than using the brush that we see now. And it creates 100 billion tons of wastage at this current time. And thank you so much, Richa, for everything that you're doing and for all the aspects that you stand for. I think somewhere in the future, your work gets promoted internationally as well. But I was very curious to understand more about the hand block printing and how you're planning to revive it.
So basically, hand block printing has been one of the oldest techniques and the oldest printing techniques in the world. It was always done on plain white cloth to add color to the fabric. Yes, when dyeing came, and when we all, started to know more techniques and more designs and more printing techniques, things obviously changed. But it was mainly done on a plain fabric to give color so that the people of Rajasthan could wear as they come. As Rajasthan is so barren, so with their color, with their clothes they add color to their lifestyle. So generally Rajasthan with their clothes are very, very colorful. If you even see the men, they all will be wearing these fluorescent turbans and very, very bright turbans. So they add a lot of color to their life. So that was one inspiration, that even a small village or a small town or a small house of Rajasthan, the ladies and the men will be very, very colorful in their clothing. So that was one of the inspirations when it comes to color combinations, because they are great in color combinations. You see a lot of unique color combinations there. And the other thing that is that uh, I would say that it has been, I am lucky to be in a family that I've been born in. It's my privilege, my honor, that I'm born in such a, in a family where I'm connected to such great family members and people who live in their palaces and forts. There's so much of history which is connected to palaces and the forts. So we take the designs from there. There are, the motifs on the wall, the very, very old hand painted papers which are put on the walls, the paintings, even the designs. Say even your staircase has some designs. So there, every little corner of these forts and palaces has a history and has a design. And again, done by the local artisans. They did not come from anywhere else. They were all there. Can you hear me, Shilesh?
Yes, yes, I can
Yeah.
completely hear you, Richa.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So you know that when you look at these old palaces and forts where everybody from abroad comes to just see it, and they've made it into a museum, you when you just stand there for a second, and when you know intake the entire energy, is when you realize that this entire mansion was technically built by the local artisans. You know, this thing was built by the local craftsmen. Nobody came from outside. It was
True.
our, you know, it was the local brains of the family. It was the local brains of the artisans. It is how they promoted it in their own way. Every palace, every fort is different state wise, telling every state that this is our local craftsmanship. They showed it. There was a sense of pride in them. They they built these huge mansions because they felt that pride in their artisans. They felt that pride in their craftsmanship. They were so confident with their locals. So I feel that a lot of inspirations come from there, when people where education was not so they were not so aware with so many things, that when life was not exposed to so many things, when education was only restricted to the men, even then they were somewhere or the other so progressive in just supporting their locals. uh, I don't know, somewhere I think we got lost. We got lost with I suppose too much of exposure. We did not I think realize what we are missing out on. We were more fascinated on something that we were not getting than rather something that we have and appreciating that. So, yes, my inspiration of sticking to our local artisans and sticking to hand block printing was all due to this. And also, it's very, very close because my mother and my grandmothers have only believed in hand block prints when it comes to home linen. It's something that connects me to home. It is something that makes me feel cozy when I'm in a room. So yes, I that is how I started with my line home furnishing, because I feel it makes me feel so homely, feels makes me feel so cozy, that it's very easy for me to sell my product. With having everything going, I have to be very practical. I have to have something that I can sell the product also. I just can't come up with something that I cannot sell, something that I'm not connected to. So home furnishing hand block is something that I can just sell because I've seen it all my life. So it's easy for me to just say that just get into a Jaipuri Razai, guys. It's just going to be very cozy, and so yeah, and it just brightens up the room. It makes your room so cool. You feel such a nice vibration when you enter the room, because they use such pastel colors, such light colors when we use it in printing, that your room looks very, very cozy and comfortable. So yes,
Correct.
everything basically coming together, from my own personal childhood to my inspirations, to my families, to people around me, from the village that I stay in, because I stay in a village. So knowing that what the local artisans go through from day to day life. So it's all accumulation of everything. Basically, it's not some, I can't say one thing inspired me or one thing kind of inspired. uh, it's all together. It's just everything put together from last 30 years that I've been seeing.
Richa, while I was listening to you, I was thinking what I should speak next. And then I was trying to understand, if I should keep this point. And while I kept that point in my head, the other interesting came in. So then it became like a sangam altogether. Rather, your inspirations are like the sangam, or the triveni that we can think of different aspects coming together, of different legacies, of different personal essence as well, of social responsibility, and absolutely the larger context of giving back to the society, and the legacy that you have been coming from. And I think what
Yes.
was very interesting to hear from you, Richa, was that you also learn from the environment around you. You
Yeah.
also learn from the palaces. You also learn from the designs in the forts. So I think that was one of the very interesting facts, because I remember very rightly having said by one of our advisors in Youth of India that India is a country where we can learn, and rather he said is that innovation is in air. Like love, like love is in air, or there is a magic in the air. There is innovation in the air as well. And it is up to us how we can take it up.
Yes.
Sometimes even the plants of this country can create biofuel diesel. So I think that was very interesting to hear from you, the kind of responsibility that you feel within you, the kind of duty that you're giving towards the society. And the inspiration is your personal, which is
Yes, and imagine,
self-inspired.
Sulesh, we lost touch with the artisans for so many years that finally something like COVID or something like a pandemic or something like as serious as these circumstances made us realize that there's so much in India, within India. But it is when we were not getting the supplies from outside, when the markets were shut, when we could not export or we could not import, is when we realize that there's so much in India that we really do not need to go out. So somewhere or other, it did upset me that something so serious had to make us realize that vocal for local is there. Something so serious as a pandemic that finally we realize that our local artisans are there. So I do not know whether to really thank pandemic, whether to thank COVID or not to thank COVID at this time, because at least we realized it.
You know,
If nothing
just
else.
taking just taking a line from what you were mentioning, Richa, though there is pain that there is a lot of life, there is pain that a lot of family members have also, must have passed
Yes.
away or must have been affected. But at the same time, when we see one aspect, there's also another aspect to it. A coin has two sides of it. And there have been ample amount of possibilities. And I think that is one of the reasons, when not just India, but then the entire world has started to realize that we have to become self-reliant. And that is
Yes.
exactly what even Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya had thought about. That is exactly what even Atal Bihari Vajpayee had thought about. And
Yes.
that's exactly what even Mahatma Gandhi believed in. And that is just packaged in a way which the current Prime Minister is mentioning about becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Atmanirbhar Bharat is not about stopping products from the outside to trade.
No, no, yes, not at all.
It is a change in mindset.
It's just a change in your mindset, because every village has something to offer. We are exporting spices, we're exporting fabric, we're exporting our crops, we're exporting our there were times when we were exporting our minerals, when it came to even say our gold and the diamonds, even when it came to things like that. Marble, there's so many things that we are exporting, so you can imagine that we kind of are having everything in our country. There's technically nothing missing. you know
Definitely. You're right.
and so I and even from one village to another village you go, it will have something to offer you, something very different to offer. State to state has something different to offer in
Correct.
every aspect, from food to fabric to your beverages to everything. So I would say it's not that you have to just stick to vocal for local, but it is just that when you are when you're doing your export and import, you are consciously aware of the fact that you should be doing your part of work even in your own country, and not only focusing on the other country, because all the other countries are very very conscious of the fact that they help their communities first. They are very very conscious about that aspect, that they believe in supporting their communities first. And I feel that we should support our community and our country first, and then uh, go further.
Correct. You're absolutely true. And I think that is exactly where, when we envision towards an independent and a free India by 2047 of celebrating 100 years of India's independence, I think that is when exactly where young leaders like you, young leaders like a lot of young leaders across the world, across around the country would take up the leadership in making sure that what were known as the golden pigeon or Sone ki Chidiya would now be seen again. And I think
Yes.
that vision is not far anymore. The very fact that it has ignited, rather saying that it has reignited that spirit within each one of us. it has reignited that sense of pride within us that we are proud of our legacy. There has been challenges, yet we can take that again. And this time, it would be the legacy, the culture clubbed with innovation and technology. And I think when that clubbing has come together, there is nothing that can stop India from leading, or rather saying, not just leading, but then supporting every country and every person around us. So,
Yes.
Richa, just over the final thought, and listening to you has been such an inspiration altogether. So, would you like to share, while you were talking about the forts and the palaces, and you mentioned that you happen to be staying in one of these forts and palaces as well yourself. So, would you like to share something of how did your families in the past have been contributed in the histories, or more about the royal family that you come from as well, for the benefit of our
So,
viewers?
I belong to the royal family of Tanta, which is in Gujarat. It's in the Rajasthan-Gujarat border, and we have contributed with the village when it comes to the school, to the court, when it came to these hospitals. So basically, in the olden days, it was the town was a part of the entire town was a part of our family. Where slowly and steadily, of course, when the Land Act came in, there were a whole lot of things that were given and taken in the process. But yes, in that process, we have contributed when it comes to making a school. There's a court there. There are a lot of the local commercial aspect when it comes to shop. It all belongs to all our family members, where we have built shops where we can develop the town in such a way that we are also on an advantage, and so is the town an advantage, because when the development of shops came in, the showrooms came in, the bank came in, there's a bus stop that my father has contributed to the government. So it's a family contribution to making Danta what it is. It's a small town, but it's a family contribution. All my uncles, all my cousins, everybody has done and played their part. Mainly, we are into agriculture. Because we hold a certain amount of agricultural land, so we are into agriculture. So that would be a little bit about my family. There's a temple which is very, very famous in Gujarat. That is the Ambaji temple. It is Mataji's temple, which is our family temple. That was my grandfather's personal puja till the time my grandfather was there. And because people started believing in the vibrations in that temple so much, that slowly and steadily it became known. It became a very, very important part of Gujarat. And of course it became so big, and finally we were not allowed to hold it as a personal temple. None of the families can now. They all had to be given to the government, because it's just, I suppose, I do not know if I can say it right or wrong on it, but yes, so many people come and worship. A lot of people who come and sit there. The vibrations are such of that temple that it has become a huge, huge symbol in Gujarat. So yes, so that's a little bit about my family background. We go every Navratri. Yes, we have the right to do the Navratri puja as a family. We get the temple to ourselves for good 3-4 hours. So that's a big advantage for us, because there are a lot of people who are standing in the line, pushing each other just to see Mataji during the Navratri, Navratri time. And uh, at that time, I take a moment to just thank her for giving us this opportunity, that we are not standing in that line and we can come and worship her in her personal puja in a personal room, and we as a family get that opportunity to be standing there for 3 hours. So I generally only thank her for giving me this privilege, that I'm not standing in the line. At that moment, I am not asking for anything. I am not telling her that, okay, help me with this or help me with that. I am just thanking her, because we all feel it. The vibrations are so strong at that time, that we feel that we are so honored and we are so privileged at that time, that we cannot be taking anything you
Right.
know, as one of, we can't take anything just for granted, so that is one, but that is once in a year a realization that you
Correct.
cannot take anything for granted. And my sister is a everyday realization to me that I cannot take anything for granted. So yeah.
This is so nice to hear from you. And now, I was just on a lighter note. I'm so glad that that now that I know you and you're one of us. You it might also give a little privilege while if I have to travel to Navratri during that special
Yes,
day.
please, you just need to call me and we will take you in.
Thank you so much. I think so now I would like to thank the mother herself, the divine mother and mother Maamba, for at least making that acquaintance. Now that it makes it much easier. But before going into that, yesterday while I was in one of the Shakti Pitas as well, which is called Mari Devi
Yes,
Shakti Peeth, where
yes,
Ma's left leg had fallen down and it is now considered as a Shakti Pita. So, and while I was there, and then suddenly I could realize what Sri Aurobindo, while I was reading his book, had also, shared about the divinity of Mother. And then he says, Sri Aurobindo, which he comes from the land of West Bengal, that we have to create strength where it did not exist before. We have
yes,
to change our natures and become
yes,
new people with new hearts to be reborn
yes,
again. And we need
yes,
that nucleus of men in whom the Shakti is developed to its uttermost extent, in whom it fills every corner of the personality and overflows to fertilize the earth. This
yes. So
having the
true.
fire, this having the fire of Bhavani in their hearts and brains will go forth and carry the flame of Bhavani to every nook and corner of the land and the world. And I think this entire message exactly, I can't really say sum up, but makes us realize of what you would also feel while you're there during Navaratri. And it is so nice.
Yes,
And exactly this is what, again, being inspired by one of the leaders, Sri Tejasvi Surya, who is also a member of parliament, he said we need young leaders who have spirituality, who are intellectual, who are social, and who have the urge to take it global. And Richa, speaking with you, I think all these four aspects that Tejasvi has also thought about, all these aspects that our culture can think about, are coming in like a triveni or the sangam or the amalgamation of everything that we can think of. And I think it is because of the divinity of this mother, it is because of the gratitude, I would rather say, or the blessings that she's empowering on you and the entire society and to your family, that you're able to do so much as well. And
yes,
this
yes,
vision is only replenished, it is only advocated to making sure that this service continues. And I'm
yes,
so happy and I'm so glad that today, on this special day of where we consider as a good governance day, where we consider as a day of reform of a personality who has reformed education by taking donations from the society and which is now known as the Banaras Hindu University by Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji. And also a day where we are respecting, worshipping the divinity of Mother in the form of a plant, which is known as the Tulsi plant in itself. And in this day, while you are here, you have exactly reflected all the three personalities and the mother, and again, the local artisans taking it global. So thank you so much,
thank
Richa.
you,
I mean, rather saying
thank you.
Princess Richa Rajya, for joining in with us in this special Yuki Baat and to all our viewers as well. Thank you so much.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Shailesh. Namaste, thank you.